Hey, what up, my delicious-looking boys? Oh my! You're happy to see me.
Didn't
as
sound
always, it
right at
seems.
all.
It is once again that time at the month. Time for this non-existent game to feed us mere crumbs of information. However, this month is special, you see, special. Because for the first time in this game's history, we finally got a glimpse at one of its core gameplay features.
Gathering
skills.
I'm sure it's perfectly
It
normal.
didn't even
for a
show the
feature like
gathering
this to be
skills, it
announced
showed
5
gathering.
years after its inception, right? Yes. Anyway, this month's live stream is the start of something great, as we can finally begin talking about more solo and economic aspects of this MMO based off what we saw today. And I'm super excited to break down the live stream in such a seductive way. You'll be compelled to sign up to my Patreon. I have 5 early access videos releasing to Patreon this month, and I know you'll love them. But before we get into that, the ones I've already seduced and I would love for you to grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because using the power of cheap editing, I will reveal to you today the exact topics. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
Welcome, ghouls and goblins.
Wait a minute, dude.
Ashes and Creation October development update.
So today was formatted slightly differently, as the team decided to
level
dedicate
are
a
these things?
segment
40
of
and
today's
41?
live stream to the recent PvP drama.
I'm level
Seems not even
38, so
Intrepid
they're
can
about 3
resist
levels
milking
higher.
this topic, but Steven's elaborations hopefully did a better job than the 50 scuffed videos by
I still
balding
mess it
men
up.
throwing baseless assumptions around. We'll touch on this in a moment. For now, we'll go over the few reminders and updates, starting with the YouTube comment, focused on the UI customization early on during development. Although nothing new was discussed related to this, Steven did confirm that we will of course be able to customize the UI, and this is one of the core features available to Ashes of Creation, as it is a game that wants to give us flexibility without needing add-ons. The second major topic was the date and information related to their upcoming 24-hour Extra Life livestream happening at 10 AM PST on the 5th of November. This time around is most certainly worth watching, as the Pathfinder campaign is based around one of the starting zones in Alpha 2, giving us a lot of insight to the quests in the location and focusing the narrative around one of the major points of interest teased during last month's livestream, the Tower of Carfin, whilst revealing some of the events that occurred around this location pre-apocalypse. Very interesting indeed, as it seems we're going to, once again, get some interesting lore reveals during this month's Extra Life livestream. Now, the rest of the stuff was pretty mild, so we'll gloss over this and make our way to the dreaded PvP drama, and I seriously don't want to dwell on this for too long because the whole situation has just been completely exhausting, and it's generating a lot of baseless hate towards the project due to misinformation. However, touching on this is very necessary because there is a lot of misinformed takes floating around the community lately based on experiences that have, well, no actual experience. I highly recommend you guys go watch the full segment of this, linked in the description below, because I simply cannot do Steven's words justice in a summary. I can, however, summarize them in as low IQ way as possible, so then hopefully even the lowest denominator can understand without their brains dribbling out of their ears. To start with,
Why do I keep
Steven
getting
explained the
stunned and
purpose
shit, dude?
of the PvP in Ashes of Creation, that being it is designed to be meaningful, it is designed to fuel change in the world through both opt-in systems and elements that are more natural and dynamic. And it's this more natural, out-of-player control form of PvP that sparked the drama, so the majority of this discussion was revolving around this particular topic. Steven elaborated further to explain that this project is taking the systems of the past and iterating on them to fix the problems that allowed griefing to exist in a way that cannibalizes their game. Risk is an important part of Ashes of Creation. When there is risk, it makes us value reward. It makes us, as human beings, feel some form of emotion when you achieve or lose something. This is the beauty of a sandbox game, after all. Steven and the team recognize that the problem with MMOs in the past doesn't stop players from impacting our gameplay in a negative, harassing, and repetitive way. He explained that griefing or harassment in this form is against the game's TOS. Ashes of Creation will be
How are they
punishing
gonna be
players
able to
harshly
keep
with
up with
both
that?
in-game mechanics
There's no
and
way.
from a customer service point of view, the people who dedicate themselves to harassing the community in a way that is less about their personal advancement and more about their amusement at the expense of someone else. The corruption system in Ashes of Creation will stop this kind of behavior. You deal significantly less damage to other players whilst corrupted. You can't trade, use banks, or socialize whilst corrupted, but most importantly, you become an active target that has a 4 times multiplier to their death penalty, and you drop actual equipped gear upon death. The downsides are already 10 times more punishing than anything currently available in the MMORPG genre. Intrepid do not want PvP to be a negative part of this game, and from my own PvP experience, I fully believe they are taking the correct steps to prevent that without losing the risk associated with it, like toggle or faction-based PvP does. At the end of the day, friends, it comes down to the very reason
Oh
we
my
even
god,
follow
dude.
this project
Why
in
does
the
he keep
first place.
aggroing
It's
shit?
snorting a
Fuck
fat line of crystalline copium. Ashes of Creation is aiming to bring to the genre something that is not currently represented correctly. Risk versus reward in a PvX style game, and they will never change their core tenets to achieve this. Of course, the system will need to be tested, iterated upon, and have its dials changed. That is exactly what Alpha 2 is for, and it is completely disingenuous to claim this system won't work because we simply don't know that yet. We don't know if this system will work because the game, quite literally, doesn't exist. Now, I think I've said enough on this, and hopefully this segment has helped explain the goals of this game to any theme park Andies who don't actually like MMOs and just want a single player lobby game. FBI, open up!
You, I finally found you, you bold copium vampire. You've created this drama. You trying to capitalize off all this PvP. Stephen Sharif's just trying to create a good game. And now I'm gonna end you. You.
You'll excuse me for a moment. Apologies for that. Now that necessary obstacle is out of the way, let's actually get into the meat of today's live stream. So today we're blessed with 2 developers alongside Stephen, Corey and Alex to help explain the systems and mechanics behind this Alpha 2 Gathering livestream. Right off the bat, the visuals of course look stunning, and there's plenty of incredible visuals to show off today. However, the biggest reveal is that yes, every tree, rock and bush in Ashes of Creation is gatherable. They have indeed taken New World's well-received system and implemented it into this highly anticipated MMORPG. But it doesn't stop there, for they have innovated upon this system to the point where it makes New World look primitive in comparison. Firstly, we'll touch upon the sound design, as I think they have pretty much matched New World during these first initial stages, and I will grace you with a clip so you can all appreciate its glory.
I love the new UI.
Oh, I know. And the sound. Get ready. It's happening. Oh! Oh my gosh.
Now, as you may have noticed, the trees in Ashes of Creation, as they collide with the floor, actually have physics, which is a huge improvement to pretty much all previous MMORPGs, and according to the devs, took them a lot of work to get right. I'll be showing off various clips of the tree collision as we continue through this segment, but there's one final component related to the trees in Vera that Ashes of Creation is doing differently. As you can see, when a tree is cut down, a new tree grows in its place, further giving us that sense of a living, breathing world, something we've all been dreaming about in our MMORPGs. The growth state is obviously sped up during this showcase, so the details on this will remain a mystery for now. Whilst we're on the subject of regrowth though, I think now is a great time to talk about the bushes and plants in the world, as these also have great animations to them, both from a physics point of view and player animation point of view. Additionally, as you can see, some of these plants are affected by seasons. These blue plants in particular only exist in the winter season, fueling the economy of the game and creating scarcity and demand for out-of-season materials. Finally, I want to touch upon the rocks and survey mechanics shown. However, I will just be giving you a brief preview of the visuals and an overview of the general mechanics, because I want to dedicate some significant time to these in our next video. As you can see, the rocks also have physics, but they respawn slightly differently to the organics in Vera. Respawn locations for materials are variable, so it's not like these rocks are going to be popping up again and again in the same locations, leading to people farming the same tired routes over and over. As you may have noticed, from the outside, we cannot see what materials are within these rocks. This rock in particular had iron inside, but we didn't know that until the gathering animation was complete. But it's not RNG. This is a mechanic that ties heavily into one of Ashes of Creation's core gathering systems, surveying. To survey an area, you must place down a pylon, and within the pylon's area of effect, it will display and reveal what type of materials are around, including materials inside these anonymous rocks. Stephen explained that as you progress your gathering profession, you can unlock additional pylons, and in doing so, you increase your surveying area. It's all pretty unique and exciting, and I'm not going to further elaborate on the specific mechanics like land health and economy, because that's not the point of this video. I'm instead super excited to dive into these systems in the follow-up. For now though, I won't bother doing the transition. I will just jump us straight into the final character art segment, because it is very short this month. We'll start with some skeleton mobs that are incredibly detailed. Holy crap, very well done with these guys. They look fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing their animations in-game. Following this, we have the Bandit Slaver, fully textured and completed, with the standard bandits to accompany him. Pretty great, and I love the diversity here, no doubt putting their internal character creator to good use. And finally, we got a tease for what is likely coming during next month's stream, showing off the standard spear, shield, and mace. And what this tease could mean is
Spear, shield, and
anyone's
mace.
guess. And that's pretty much
Tankability,
everything
maybe?
from this month's live stream. I was fairly pleased with what was shown today. It was great progress, and I'm excited to give my feedback and elaborate on some of this stuff further in the next video. So make sure you're subscribed. Oh wait, subscriptions mean jack all in the current year, except stroking your relevancy. Instead, I'd much rather you came and joined our Discord, because we're completely out of fresh blood, and everyone who's in there at the moment bores me to death.
But Narc, this is just scuffed New World, so why don't they just screw all that PvP stuff and copy its toggle PvP system as well?
And to that I say...
most stuff. Ring the bell for all the future notifications, and as usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch for keeping the channel alive. More information on how you can support later. For now, let's begin.
Jesus,
Today
he's
we're
got a lot
playing
of
Bless
Patreons.
Unleashed on the PC. No, not Bless Online. That was the 2018 Korean game which was then ported to Russian. And not Bless Unleashed Unreal Engine 3 version. Not the console version of Bless Unleashed. Not Bless Eternal, which got renamed to Bless Mobile. None of those Blesses, although they are all Bless. This is the Unreal Engine 4 remaster of Bless Unleashed, which is still called Bless Unleashed despite being a different version of Bless to the previous Bless Unleashed. Got it? Okay. Good. I'm glad that's clear. The original Bless released back in 2018 and the Unreal Engine 4 remaster of Bless Unleashed came to Steam in 2021 and actually briefly made it into the top 10 most played games, and yet, despite a surge of early popularity, has fallen into obscurity. But is it actually bad? Well, I mean, it failed like 3 times and had to keep being relaunched and is now failing for a 4th, so it's clearly not great. We download it, log in and choose a class. You have 5 to choose from: Crusader, Berserker, Ranger, Mage and Child. Limited selection isn't always a bad thing. It means they can focus and balance things easier. I'll go with traditional sword and board warrior. It's basic, yes, but a good sign of true quality is how well they can handle the simple stuff. Like a pizzeria making a fantastic margarita, or a student bar making a Jaeger bomb. Character creation is mechanically vapid, but aesthetically deep. You don't have any stats or abilities to put anywhere, but you can slide every insignificant detail slider. You can even choose the lushness of your eyelashes. Finally, a game which lets me sensually gaze my enemies figuratively to death with my come-to-bed eyes before I actually batter them literally to death with my come-to-death sword. Character made, time for the first boss. Choosing a name. Josh Strife Hayes isn't taken, but it is too long. So, Josh Strife, no Joy Strife H, no Josh S.H. Every name I suggest is rejected for seemingly no reason. It just says you can't have that name, and after 10 minutes of trying, I give up and just try JSH, and it works. A 3-letter name is not taken in an MMO. God damn. Time for the intro movie, which is nicely stylized, nicely animated, and nicely narrated, with narrations matching the subtitles exactly.
Where the light ends, a black blade shall split the sky, and Luminous will return to sow the seeds of shadow once more. Famine and decay will follow in her wake, and the lash of war will be unleashed. Cries of despair will fill the air.
This is gonna be
And
fun. This is gonna be some good EXP right here.
The die has been cast, and Luminous awoken. Before the goddess of darkness can conquer all, go forth and find the fragments of the gods.
So it's your standard fare of land in trouble, gods involved, go and be a saviour. Nothing we've not seen before. In fact, nothing we've not seen before is going to be a reoccurring phrase in this video. Game starts, WASD movement, space is roll. Okay. You've got a visual guide showing your combat combo to the top left. Bless Unleashed is a third-person action combat game. Your attacks are bound to left click and right click, and abilities bound to 1 to 4. You have class skills on C and V. Left clicking and right clicking in the correct order makes combos happen, not unlike a fighting game, and combat works on a hidden real-time turn-based system. If you throw a combo together, it's smooth and fast, but messing up a combo puts you into a short cooldown animation where you are vulnerable, so it rewards skill over button mashing, which is nice. Follow this blue orb lady, and crossing this bridge triggers a graphical warning pop-up. Check your graphics, are they correct? At first I think this was on a timer, but no, this is actually a trigger point warning. Crossing the bridge back and forth makes this pop up every time. What a strange way of doing this. Jump is bound to control. We will be changing this later. We are straight away thrown into a mini-boss. Use combos, roll, use your skills. What do those skills do, you ask? Doesn't matter. Who cares? No time to explain. Push buttons, win the fight. Who are you? Where are we? Why are we here? Who are we fighting? Stop asking questions. You are blessed. This is Unleashed. Go and unleash your bless. Early game combat will see you getting knocked around a lot, because the enemy has a lot of stuns and interrupts, and using skills often causes this slight screen jerk effect where the camera tries to line itself up behind you but can't because it clips into scenery, and the whole thing is a bit of a mess. We're then told, brace yourself. Okay, how? You've given me nothing. You've thrown me into some epic level combat against a demon, and I'm just doing my best here. I'm flailing around like a kid with a plastic sword. And then we win, and we wake up, and it was all a dream. I'm not joking, the opening is literally a dream sequence. So we leave our house and chat to our local friend Foy. We tell them about our dream, and then Foy does what everyone wishes they could do whenever anyone starts talking about their dreams and sprints into the distance.
That thing's
Right, let's
level
explore the
47.
UI. Jay opens the journal,
thing is gonna
lists and
kill
tracks
me.
quests nice and simple. Tab cycles through your 3 hotbars to the bottom left, with each space on each hotbar bound to the F1 to 5 keys. M opens your map, which is nicely laid out with easy to read legend symbols and a decent zoom function. You can change the level of zoom from here to here. Thankfully, this does increase as you explore the map more. When you pin a quest, you can toggle the sparkly guide leading you to the objective on or off. Toggling it off would be great if the main path isn't essentially linear anyway, and while you can wander off it and do side quests, you'll unlock the most experience by following the main quest line. Whenever given a choice, I often choose to follow the main quest line in any game because it's what the majority of new players are going to do, which means it should be, in theory, the best gaming experience
heals
the
are not
developers
that
can
great.
make. This should be a path which shows off what the game excels at. The opening conversation brings up how we are an orphan, so the unknown heritage narrative end is immediately opened up, so we head into this village and chat to the world's strongest bits of rope. She tells us the celebration is today, and we should go and talk to the priestess. Okay, I need to rebind, jump to spacebar, and dodge to shift, and thankfully, this is really easy to do. We have a chat about dreams and then meet Don Diego, a manly man from the mainland and one of the early to mid-game central characters. We wander around the festival and collect some magical orbs because the big book of gameplay dictates you must make the player do some menial task in any area, so they're forced to appreciate that area. Then we're sent to eavesdrop on a secret meeting, so I do my usual stealthy thing and accidentally clip inside a tree. I didn't mean to do this, and I can't move. Can't jump, can't roll, I'm just kind of stuck. Here, stuck inside some wood, vibrating away. There's a joke in there somewhere. Thankfully, there's an emergency escape option in the menu, which is great, so now we can eavesdrop on the bad guys. They're called the Faceless, which is a terrible name because you can clearly see they all have faces. They're talking about the goddess of darkness, so we head to this absolutely gorgeous temple and warn the goddess Diana. She says, "Oh no, this is bad, you should leave." And then some evil dude shows up with a magical D20 and challenges Diana to roll initiative.
Magical
It doesn't seem too
D20.
bad until he explains they'll be playing 4th edition, and then we all start panicking. They have a magical duel, and Angry Man wins with the power of knife. He teleports behind her, tells her it's nothing personal, kid, and then stabs her. Demons get summoned, so we go and fight some hellhounds. Again, I'm told to use my skills, but what are my skills? I try to unlock the cursor so I can hover over the icons and maybe find a tooltip, but you cannot unlock the cursor. Eventually I find the menu which explains everything, but this is not a substitute for a well-designed hidden tutorial which explains a mechanic as you receive it. During combat, I'm getting some lag, both input and graphically, but why? I've got a good PC, good internet, way beyond the recommended specs. It seems Bless Unleashed Remastered 4.0 is just really badly optimized. More cutscenes. The demons kill the cameraman, then the kid we've known for 5 minutes dives in front of a magical energy blast and saves us, and then Don Dongle flies in on his griffin and scoops us away to safety. We are dropped off at some random farm and wake up 3 days later. Who were those people attacking the festival? Why did our childhood friend die for us? Whose farm is this? I'm hearing too many questions and not quite enough unleashing of Bless. The farm is owned by Marco. His son, Giovanni, has dreams of capturing animals in small magical orbs, then making them fight to the death. But before that, he needs us to heal the griffin that flew us here. So I open the inventory and you get this basic overlay tutorial. It's not terrible. And now we're off to pick flowers, but are distracted by wolves. Bless A Realm Unleashed is similar to Guild Wars 2 in its dynamic event system. Your main story questline is shown with this blue icon and blue highlighted map areas, but dynamic quests show up in white. These are just things you can do while you're in an area, normally netting you some experience and crafting reagent items. They're not essential, they're just nice distractions. And for all the complaints I have about Bless of Blesscraft, there is always something to do nearby. You are never walking for long before being given something to get involved with. As we kill enemies, we grab some dropped items. If you get an equipable loot item like weapons or armor,
What do you guys
press
think?
G
You think I'll be able to
equip
kill it?
right away. A small red or green arrow lets you see at a glance if it's better than your current thing. The same arrow is shown on the inventory screen. Leveling up earns you skill points. Skill menu is K. You can improve your current skills or buy more, then build your ideal combination of 4 combat skills and 2 class skills available at any time. Giovanni asks us to pray at this grave. We're either paying respects to his mum or his skills as a gardener, and then Giovanni and his dad Marco discuss Giovanni leaving the farm to pursue his real passion of not living on a farm. We agree to escort him around for a bit and then unlock the first telepost, a waypoint you can travel to from the map. They cost a small amount of gold to use, similar to the waypoints in Guild Wars 2 or the shrines in the Elder Scrolls Online. On our journey to the next town, we run into the bullied kid and decide to help by killing a wolf mini-boss, and this fight is actually quite fun. I was expecting it to be a complete breeze, but no, I get hurt and knocked around, and I have to actually try because early game death is a very real possibility. The combat system works pretty well, but the combo system can sometimes leave awkward pauses at the end of a chain. Thankfully, rolling is a guaranteed immediate action interrupt and a small immunity frame. Something about Dark Souls. And then more players show up to help out. My only concern is, all the other players have Korean symbols in their name, and in 10 hours of play, no one spoke back to me. Now here's an interesting combat mechanic. When the enemy stuns you, it's minigame time. Sometimes you've got to mash the spacebar. Other times it's press a certain order of keys. Sometimes it's press a button when the icon is in the right place.
Now this is almost
It's
out of
essentially
magic
interrupting
power.
the fight for a quick violent game of Mario Typing Tutor. If you succeed, you break the stun and have just enough time to roll away before getting hit. If you don't, you get hit. So being stunned isn't always a death sentence, but you've got to pay attention and be quick on the draw to break free. Level up, gain access to some more combos, and help this woman by killing some bandits. We then meet this girl in a cage. She says she's not trapped, but her pet seagull will eat her unless we bring the seagull some grains and sate
Oh my
the
God, I
seagull's
killed it.
desire for human flesh
fucking
with
killed it,
carby
guys.
goodness. I really hope this quest dialogue was lost in translation and the localization guys are just doing the best, because the alternative is someone actually wrote this as a quest, and that's just a bit weird. Complete more local quests and solve everyone's problems with the power of murder, and then this merchant says he'll expand the size of our sack. I mean, I'm
that looks
flattered, but
pretty
I'm
cool.
not that type of adventurer.
Fucking samurai, dude.
Oh, you'll increase my inventory. Yeah, right,
Yeah,
that's
fucking
fine.
samurai
Walk down the path
warrior.
some more, and another random event spawns in right in front of us. This young farmer's wagon is stuck in the mud. This is a button-pressing minigame, so I slap the D and then pound the A, and the wagon pulls out and grow up, all of you. You know, Bless, Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken may have a rough, disjointed start, but mechanically it's fine. It's actually interesting in places. Reach the harbour and we unlock the Soul Pyre, a fire you will respawn at if you die. Something else about Dark Souls. Then, more fighting reveals more small issues. Attacks don't always go in the direction of the camera despite being an action combat game. If you start an attack and then swing the camera and then follow up your initial attack with a combo piece, the second attack, the first part of the combo, will keep going in the original direction, which makes fighting around enemies quite annoying. This town is locked, but we need to get in, so we summon our adventurer's wit and explain we're actually delivering fish. We prove this by picking up a nearby box of fish and they let us right in. I don't know why everyone queuing isn't doing this. Oh, Giovanni left a while ago, in case you're wondering why he isn't queuing. Here's a nice touch. The overworld is shared, but quest instances happen on a player-by-player basis. When you enter a quest instance, or instant version of the overworld, the world flashes blue, and this wave of neon blue sweeps over the land, phasing out other players and non-quest-based enemies. We're off to visit our griffin-riding saviour Don Dodrio, but his estate is under attack, so we help out with more murder. Inside, this woman holds a smaller magical D20 towards us and it explodes. She explains it was made of prana, pure chaos energy.
I think I'm gonna
and
go
we
get me
destroyed
some
it by
Taco
just
Bell
being near it.
breakfast.
How super special, magic, awesome of us. We're then sent to a teleport lady who explains star seeds, things needed to teleport from place to place, and then a mysterious wanderer, literally called Mysterious Wanderer, explains a tablet we found is a blessing from the gods and we should go and activate it. Blessings are passive buffs, which affect certain skills and help supplement your playstyle. Now we're sent into this local university and need to kill some wild animals, not the students, giant insects. This honestly feels feels like a side quest which has somehow shoehorned its way into the main quest line. Like the main quest kids were having a fun party and this guy wandered in and no one had the heart to ask them to leave. The professor thanks us and asks us to go and check the Demolished District, a rundown part of town infested with bandits and
I
graffiti
just pulled another
for a
orange
missing magical
named,
staff.
I think.
Out of complete chance, we meet Farmer Marco again. It seems Giovanni didn't come home, and he often plays around this area, so he's here looking for him. We team up to fight some bandits, and take down a bandit elite and find the magical stick in a box.
He's only
What I've
level
written in my notes for this
45.
bit
I
is,
should be able to
so
kill him if I
far,
need to.
not terrible. We level up and unlock mounts. Mounts are gained through using mount cards, which can be found in various places, and this adds the mount to your stable, and you can summon the mount at any point from your stable. Access the stable from the menu overlay. With the mount equipped, summon it with X. So behold my majestic steed. It's a goat. We're told
It's
to
a
go and find
goat.
the ancient amphitheatre. We ask this guy for directions and he laments about how while his friends are off fighting wars, he is stuck guarding cabbages, saying he'll never make a name for himself defending cabbages. Hey, you watch your mouth. I know a cabbage merchant who would be thrilled to have a guard. Arrive at the amphitheatre and get given a level 9 gift box. Bless Unlimited Power is the type of game to reward you with a level appropriate thing so you never feel weak and never really have to work for anything
Bless
new.
Unlimited
Hey, remember
Power.
that magical stick we found? It's broken. This guy can repair it, but he wants us to kill some undead zombie gladiator first, so we get busy slapping Casper around. Bless Unplugged Raw actually shines in the more technically demanding one-on-one encounters. You get to use your skills, dodge, react, heal. It's not a case of face roll the keyboard and you win. In fact, I come dangerously close to dying every fight. Now I realise later, this is because my class mechanic, blocking incoming damage, hasn't been explained to me yet, but hey, you work with what you know. Ghost killed, staff fixed, now we're off to a farm to deliver a package, because between bouts of legendary prana-destroying hero, we're also medieval uber. I have also realised my mount is slower than my run, meaning I can get myself there faster than a goat can. Gonna add that to the list of sentences I never thought I'd say. Get sent to kill some wild boars because the game suddenly remembered it is an MMORPG and we haven't done that yet, and then some more locals tell me about local troubles. And look, okay, it's hard to get invested in a plot when I know for a fact this doesn't matter. You have opened with epic dream and then we have destroyed the pure embodiment of chaos just by being near it, and now you're expecting me to emotionally invest in some farmer's sheep wandering off. The pacing of emotional intensity in this plot is all over the place. We now head into the crawling labyrinth to find some guy called Cosimo, and instead we get a cutscene with no voices because voice actors are expensive and the budget went on marketing the game for re-release 5 times. We tell this grieving NPC, unfortunately, Cosimo is dead, and they say, oh, that's a shame, have a sword. You know, the world is lovely. Graphically, it holds up. The landscape is varied, enemies are dense enough, there's little flourishes of life, but the intensity of this plot means you are never encouraged to explore. The plot is so focused on driving you along to the next point, and every quest is death, murder, kidnap, world-ending gods and goddesses, and the music, which is lovely, combines, and I feel I've been on this downward part of a roller coaster for about 4 hours. You're dropped into this magical world and given so much responsibility and no training or character arc to make it rewarding. Everything is the most important thing, which makes it hard to care about anything. It's like when your colleague marks every email as highest priority. The priority system doesn't mean anything if everything is the highest priority. The next cutscene can afford the voice actors, but not the audio guys, so there's no audio balancing between voices and music. I haven't changed this. This is what the game sounds
If this 44 kills me and that 47 didn't, makes no sense.
I died in the battlefield many years ago. A power beyond our comprehension.
Oh, shit. Nah, I should be able to kill him.
Foul magic has gripped the minds of my brethren. They are stricken with madness, forever reliving the horror of our last battle.
Meet a ghost who wants us to kill another ghost, and I have to say, this Geist Warden boss is awesome. I've got an NPC helper tanking for me, which is good, because I still don't know how to use my shield beyond just slapping people with it. I do have a block skill, but I've not pressed it yet. So my shield is just a big circular blunt sword. Let the ghost know the warden is dead and then teleport back home. I find an enchanting wheel, but the moment I look at it, I get flashbacks to the Dragon Age enchanting kit, so I decide to just not touch this. The next main story quest needs us to collect 3 individual bits of the Mark of the Wolf and then combine them into a blessing upgrade. Now, hunting for bits to enhance a system feels a little bit vapid because I'm not fully comfortable yet with the base system. This is a supplement to something, and for it to feel important, I need to fully understand the foundation that I'm supplementing. You know when mobile games throw a wave of systems at you and you don't get a chance to understand one before having the next shoved in your face? Bless Ultra Deluxe DX isn't quite that bad, but it is still enhancing stuff we don't know well enough to value the enhancement. It's like playing a board game with the expansion pack straight away. I don't understand what we have expanded. Here's a nice graphical touch though. All quest target locations have a beam of light shooting up into the air, so as the map starts to open up, you can actually navigate without the map if you want to. I need to kill this corrupted treant for the next part of the wolf icon, but it's bloody tough and has a lot of localized AoE, so I actually die. And thankfully you respawn quite close, and then more players somehow turn up and fight, and all in all, this is pretty enjoyable. Head to the local altar, combine all the fragments together, and upgrade our blessing to the Blessing of the Wolf, and then I don't use it because I don't know enough about the blessing system to know if using it is the right choice. Hey, a massive wandering giant, probably a world boss. Wonder if I can take it down by myself, so I slap it and oh good lord, no, hardly made a dent in this thing. I like this. It means that zones aren't divided by level. There's stuff for higher level players in early zones. It keeps the world relevant beyond the linear quest line. Binding those marks together actually got us the Ancient Power Steam achievement. Now, I'm a few hours in, and I expect most MMOs to lose a sizable amount of players by this point, so how popular is this achievement? Oh, 28%. That's actually a lot higher than I expected. Holding a third of your player base 5 hours in is actually very impressive. And when I stop to think about it,
he just did a lot of fucking damage.
Bless Ultimate Team is a decent enough MMO, but its main strength isn't in how good it is, it's in how bad it is not. Now that sounds strange, but consider this. There are very few quit moments so far. The player is always guided, always has an objective, but enough freedom to go off if they want to. Always has options, the inventory is fine, the menus work fine, combat is balanced and challenging enough. It doesn't do anything groundbreakingly well, but equal and opposite, it doesn't do anything badly enough to make a new player quit. The random events make it feel like a budget Guild Wars 2, the open stories and lots of subquests make it feel like a budget Elder Scrolls Online, the slight fantasy edge is reminiscent of a budget Final Fantasy XIV. And that's both Bless Until Dawn's greatest strength and greatest weakness. It's a pretty good mix of everything, but it's not great enough to stand above anything else. I'll expand on this more later. Another dynamic event has us guard a wagon, and while the background music is nice and the battle cries work when there's only 1 or 2 enemies, group fights are an auditory mess because there are only about 3 battle cries and they play repeatedly.
For this shit. What the fuck has it got me going up in there? We'll just turn in what we got for now. Really? Come on, dude.
So I kill the attackers and then my bloodlust overflows and I kill this tiny bunny, which then warns me, enemies more than 8 levels below you will not drop items, so no low level grinding for you, you are forced to always move onward and upward. I'm not really a fan of this design. Low level enemies should still drop stuff, it should just not be worth your time to get. This keeps the enemy and the world consistent, but changes its relevance to me. The world should not change its behavior based on how high level I am. I should change which parts of the world I want to interact with based on what they can give me. We arrive in the desert, which looks like a Poundland Uldar. The city is fine, but it's pretty sparse, doesn't feel lived in. Speaking of lived in, how many people play this game? It launched to 76,000, which is respectable, but sees a daily login of 1,300-ish, which means it's definitely not dead.
See if we can
But I
find
mean,
a
it has died
mender.
3 times. It's probably used to it by now. I spend the next 30 minutes just passing messages back and forth, and I'm finding it really hard to get into the story when every MMO
I wish all
thinks
the
it has a
icons were
grand
different.
fantasy tale to tell, and it often boils down
There we
to
go.
such and such is evil. Try to stop them being evil. We infiltrate this Dustwind camp and fight the bandit leader. I accidentally press V and discover how to use my shield. Oh, thank God, it only took 5.5 hours. So the warrior class skill is block. You'll absorb 99% of all incoming damage from the front and lose some block stamina shown by the little shield icon. Lose it all and have no more block, just wait for it to recharge. And while blocking you can still stab, so all fights are now poke the enemy to death while hiding behind a shield. By now I just want to experience the dungeons, because with combat like this I've actually got pretty high hopes for them. So far, Bless Under the Sea has excelled at skill-based one-on-one or small group encounters. And I'm thinking, if you throw in some more humans, make the bosses even tougher, you've probably got a winning combination, so I will play until a dungeon and hope it is good. You can access the dungeon queues from the matchmaking in the main menu, but
why didn't
what
it
else is
work?
on the menu? That's right, the shop. So let's have a gander. The game is free to download, so I'm already expecting an abusive shop, but
It didn't let
honestly,
me use
it's
it. Oh, I
not
gotta
as
equip
bad
it?
as others I've seen, which I know
the
isn't really
fuck?
that high of a bar. There is a battle pass system, or
That's
blast
weird.
pass as they call it, with a regular and then
Right,
premium
here we
track.
go.
And then there's your usual bundles, cosmetics,
There we go.
potions, and convenience items. Everything costs red gems, because of course there's an intermediate currency. But these gems come in actually acceptably sized packs. 500 for $3.49, and it's likely the 6,000 pack for 35 quid is the one they're really trying to push. So I'm expecting to see things priced around the 5,000 to 6,000 mark, and yep, the anniversary package, what they're pushing right now, is reduced from 15,000 gems
Should I
down
go
to
get
5,000.
breakfast now?
I mean, it's not quite 800%
Yeah, I
value.
think
is
I'm gonna
it?
go get
In this pack,
breakfast
you get
now.
some teleport star seeds, but it says you can only use the item 30.
Yeah, I'm just gonna end the stream and then stream when I come back. So I'll be streaming again here in about maybe an hour at max. Anyway, thanks for you guys stopping by. Like I said, I'll be back in about an hour.